What's going on, family? How's everybody, man? I think that's kind of a rhetorical question, right? Considering the social climate that we're dealing with right now. Um, I don't know what side of the fence the audience that's viewing this video right now maybe residing on. Um, it's a hard time. What we're seeing right now, what we're dealing with, what we're witnessing, it's all sad. I think it could have all been avoided had voices been heard, had the fact that regardless of what race you are, we're all part of the human race, right? And when there's a divide, then that's when you have that confusion, and that's when you have all that's happening right now. Like, I'll be honest with you, I haven't gone out and protested. I haven't gone out and looted. I'm not gonna do that, right? I'm not gonna loot. And to be honest with you, I'm torn too on whether that's a good thing or bad thing. Right now, how I feel, out of the frustration and the anger, fuck them businesses. Just being honest, right? Because it's been way too long that I feel like that has been the response that has happened to people that look like me. There was a video I watched where somebody said, "I can't breathe," and the officer said, "Fuck your breath." But we're supposed to care about your Targets and your Starbucks. We're supposed to care about property damage that hopefully you were a smart business person and you took out an insurance policy, right? Now, mind you, at no point am I condoning any of that. I don't think any of that is justified whatsoever. Do I understand? Hell yeah, I do. It's tough for me because as of yesterday, I had somebody very near and dear to my heart that yesterday made 16 years that this person hasn't been in my life. And when I think about the reason that they're not in my life, it's for freedom. Some of you that watch this may know, some of you may not. Like, I lost my brother in 2004 in the Iraq War, right? Some of that which I disagreed with that at the time, going to war, not knowing why. But I applauded him for his sacrifice. And now I have to honor him for in his memory based off of what he did, right? To try to make us all free. To fight for a country that now when you look up, there's still a fucking divide. It doesn't matter your skin tone, your race, your religion, your sexual preference, when the agenda is to take care of what should be all people. But for some of those that have come back, they haven't been treated equally since they've been back. And unfortunately for me, I'm so super torn that it's taken this time for me to record this video because I just wanted to get my thoughts together. I tried not to allow what I see on TV to get into my spirit, but it's hard. It's hard not to let it into your spirit when there's people that look like me, that look like my son, that look like my nephews, my cousins, my best friends, and some of my enemies. Even though I don't claim to have any enemies, but if you don't like me, then you are, right? For whatever reason, you don't like me. But what's sad is that even when we look at some of these protests, even when we look at some of the things that are going on, I watched the video earlier today. These black women were pleading with these two Caucasian women not to write Black Lives Matter on the Starbucks for the simple fact that wasn't their purpose. That group of protesters were not there to vandalize buildings. They were not there to falsely make it appear as if the agenda of the Black Lives Matter movement was to destroy property. Again, no, I don't think there's anybody out here that condones it. I don't think there's anybody that condones it. Do I think that people understand why it's taking place? Absolutely. And that level of understanding does not mean that we're saying it's okay. It just means that we understand the frustration behind why a group of individuals, because these aren't just one or two people. When you look at what's going on out there, you guys, there's crowds of thousands of people. Some look like me, some may look like you, depending on the audience that we have here, right? But not all of them are my skin tone. Not all of them are from my particular social class. Not all of them may be from, not even from the same state. And that's one thing that they're finding out on the news too, is that most of these people that are doing these things don't even live there. But then when you have administration that says in the times that we're going through right now, instead of dealing with things with compassion, you're still trying to rule with an iron fist. I think you're going to be met with violent opposition. That's just the history of what happened, right? The Boston Tea Party was highly celebrated. I mean, it's in history books. I learned about it in school. But what I didn't learn about was Black Wall Street. But that was a mass destruction that took place too in Oklahoma for the Black Wall Street. But I didn't learn about that. So all I'm saying is, we have to treat people fairly. We have to be equal. If anybody has kids, if you have kids, then that's the lesson that you learn from your children. Try to give one child something that you didn't give to the other. What are they going to say? Daddy, that's not fair. Daddy, they got more than me. Even children know this. Babies, I got a 3-year-old. She knows that. And here we are, we're grown elected officials. But then what you also see is when you look across the different news broadcasts, there's different governors and mayors that have a different perspective. I watch Keisha Lance Bottoms because I live in Georgia. I'm here in Atlanta, and her cry came more from come on, guys, we can't be doing this. We're better than this. She's pleading to us, our people. She's hurt too. But she understands that, this is the last thing that we want to do, because depending on whatever the opinion is, we're only going to solidify that opinion. And that's not it. When people are out here and they're looting and they're destroying buildings and they don't have just cause, those people should be arrested. And if you're one of those people and you're watching this, I ain't got no pity for you if they arrest you. My brother owns a business, I got uncles and cousins and friends that are all business people. Yeah, they took out insurance and they have all that going on. But at the same time, you purposely want to destroy the property out of frustration and still not get answers. That to me does not make sense. I think what I saw today that compelled me to record this message was I was watching something, I think it's on Trader Realtor's page, right? Where there's a sheriff that came out and he is the perfect example of community policing. I don't even know if he was the sheriff of that particular community. There's also a police officer, and I can't think of his name right now. I might tag it in the comments. And he's certified, right? Blue check certified. There's a lot of people that know him. So there's also this other police guy that has a huge following for just the things that he does in the community, right? And I was just telling my wife that you can't cure hate with more hate. It's like trying to put out a fire and putting more fire on it. It just that does not work, right? If the Bible talks in analogies, so let me give you another one. If you're cooking and you have a grease fire, you don't put water on it because it's going to spread. What's happening now is the fires are spreading. The anger is getting more furious. People are becoming more and more furious about what they've seen because they know it wasn't justified. But what's interesting is, I forget who said it, that I think it may have been Will Smith, that says that hatred isn't getting worse, or prejudice isn't getting, how did he put it? I'm sure y'all seen it, so let me not lose focus of where I'm going with this. But ultimately, the racism isn't getting worse; it's getting recorded. But what's interesting too is, regardless of how much we see, that wasn't the first video. George Floyd wasn't the first person to get killed by the hands of an officer whose job and duty was to serve and protect. So I just want to come on, and I feel like I need to do this, right? And ultimately, you guys, I understand your pain. I'm hurting too. Trust me, I am. And I know it. That may be all well and good. Fortunately enough, I've been blessed, right? I'm able to be, a African American male that lives in a suburban neighborhood that's predominantly occupied by, other races, right? I may be one of 3 people that live in this neighborhood in my suburban community, and I thank God for that. So I'm not taking that for granted. And I say all that to say, I've been where you guys are at. Like, I didn't have I didn't grow up with the silver spoon in my mouth, so I understand the frustration. Trust me, I understand. Once my brother got killed in Iraq, I was pissed with everybody that I saw. So I understand the frustration. Do I know how all of you feel? No, I don't. But I understand the frustration. What I'm simply pleading and asking at this point, guys, is there's another video that more than likely will go viral of 2 and it turned into like 3 African American men. There was one that was 40, I think he was 46, another guy was 31, and they brought a guy in that was 16, right? And he's pleading with this guy saying, hey, we got to find a way. This ain't it. And trust me, you guys, that's true. This is not it. One of my best friends, man, is a police officer, and I've been talking to him for days. Aaron, I appreciate you, bro. I pray that you're safe out there. And I can just tell, he also has been impacted by the divide, right? Number 1, he's African-American male. And number 2, he's a police officer. So there's things that he sees, and when we talk about it, he's like, bro, that's not how it happened, bro. Like, this is what truly took place. The video clip that you saw, there was only a snippet of it. And I believe him. That's my best friend. I believe him. So I guess what I'm saying, family, is if anybody watched the video Friday night with Killer Mike, Keisha Lance Bottoms, T.I., and I saw somebody post this on a social media saying that they were sellouts, and I don't think so. I think that what happens is when people tell you what needs to be said versus what you want to hear, and then that it doesn't sit well. I think what Killer Mike was saying in regards to, going out there looting and doing these things isn't going to make a difference. But having a plan, here's one thing that I learned from just being a African-American male that wants to better himself, is proper planning prevents piss poor performance in all measures of your life. Whether you're fucking looting, whether you're fucking protesting, whether you're just gonna turn a blind eye to the shit that's going on, proper planning prevents piss poor performance. These officers, when they come out to the scene, they have a fucking plan. They are structured, they're organized, and they're able to, in most cases, gain some sort of order, although it may not last long, but they're able to establish that. Whereas that's not the dynamic that we have as people that are just going out there without any plan or with any guidance or with any structure or with any We have to come to that, my people. But trust me, my heart's heavy. My heart is heavy. You know, I got a 19-year-old son. I got a 13-year-old son, or excuse me, 11-year-old son. I got a 13 be 14-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old daughter. All of them are black. All of them look just like me. But what's interesting is I have to be the change that I want them to see. You don't know how hard it was for me not to want to get out the house and go down there and protest with my people because I feel the pain. But what I also realize is that same pain that we feel, that's generational. My father told me about times when he got shot with water hoses. He grew up in South Georgia. Segregation. So it's generational. But when he told me the stories and how the things that they went through, I could have either aligned with his perspective on how they handled things or saw things differently. And at this present moment, my guys, I'm seeing things differently. I'm seeing that what we have to, what we must, and that what we're eventually going to be required to do is we have to organize and we have to begin to structurally police the police. We have to begin to structurally take back control of our neighborhoods. I remember in Youngstown, Ohio, with my brother, we were going to visit a young lady he was dating, and call it what you may, but to me it was structured. To even get into the neighborhood to see the young lady, there were foot soldiers, literally, I'm not exaggerating, Youngstown, Ohio. They were foot soldiers that were at the entrance of the neighborhood. If you didn't have a purpose coming in their neighborhood, you were not getting in. So we had to call the young lady and tell her that we got stopped at the entrance. That didn't matter. They weren't going to let us through because they didn't know us. So she had to walk out. And at that point, then they did know us. But then they also took our tags and did all this other crazy stuff because now we're bringing someone out of their neighborhood and they didn't know who it was. And I'm not saying we got to go to that extreme, but I am saying if we care, let's show it in different ways. Let's definitely show it in different ways. Let's show it by uniting. Let's show it by spending the trillions of dollars that we have from our economic power, spend it amongst one another. Because guess what, you guys, after all the destruction that has been created, and I would venture out, and I'm sure there's going to be people that are going to be pissed off by me saying this, but most of which that may not have been done by us, that have been done by other people. I've seen, and of course you never know how true this shit is, right? But I've seen some people that say is that they got, you have, opposing groups, right? I don't want to call anybody out because I don't feel like anybody on my fucking channel deserves to get that attention other than, at this point I am selfish, other than my people, right? But I just have heard that there have been other organized groups that have come out with the sole purpose of smoke and mirrors. And what I mean by that is they're amongst a group of individuals that are out there for a valid reason. These people are not. Their only reason is to try to cause discord between one another and to try to make people feel like that everything that's going on right now, that we are vigilantes, that we are thugs, to solidify everything that the president said in his tweet. Once they start looting, then we start shooting. And what's going to happen is, just like that video that was shown of the two Caucasian women that were writing Black Lives BLM on the building, and they were addressed by two other sisters that stopped them. They're saying, hey, black people told me to do that. And they had to tell them like, yo, nobody asked you to do that. Listen, here's what I'm going to say. If you feel so compelled, if your life is not a black life, but you understand that Black Lives Matter, post it on your page. Do that for us. Post that on your social media page. You go out there with your posters that you created and don't write on buildings. Because the minute that they start shooting, like all of this shit pisses me off, yo. Like, then I watched another video where the man in the park, I think it was right before George Floyd died. The young lady with the dog, that I see that proper actions were taken. Her job is, she's no longer an executive for JP, and I could be quoting it wrong, but I think it was JP Morgan. But she's going to say, I'm going to call him and say that it's a black guy harassing me. It's absurd that that type of shit, that type of manipulation can fucking take place. Recorded or not, it still takes place. Out there and you're protesting and you're writing shit, you're vandalizing buildings with our movement on it, and if you're part of the movement, then you should understand what we're out there for, what's our agenda. So if you feel so compelled, what I would kindly ask for you to do is to show your support on your page. Show your support with your words and with your post of anger and disgrace and outrage for what's going on your page. That way we can identify with who you are versus coming and trying to camouflage in with the movement, and then you're trying to cause discord with what's going on. It's not fucking fair. We see you, and it's not going to be tolerated. I'm already expecting that there's going to be plenty of friends and family members that I have that will agree with me. But obviously there's also going to be some opposition. And at this point, I don't give a damn, right? I am who I am. I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm demonstrating my First Amendment right now by being able to speak freely on these matters. So I can give a shit what you think. Just understand my position. I'm here for all people, but first for my people. First, people that identify with me. People that I don't have to say shit. I don't have to tell you anything. You already know what's going on because you're experiencing it too. Just like I would expect the same from you all. I'm pretty sure you all do the exact same things. You identify with your people first, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just that simple. But guys, what I am asking though, number one, we need change. And I think the best way to create change, and I kind of digress from what I was saying in regards to the officer, the sheriff. Again, I believe it's on Trey the Realtor's page. Shout out to Trey the Realtor. Y'all go to his page, and he shows an example of what we need, right? You know, the sheriff came out, he took off his helmet, he had his entire group, they put down their shields and their batons, and he was there talking to them. Just like the police chief in Atlanta that stepped out into the crowd of protesters. That's what policing looks like, you guys. Everybody's not a criminal, but everybody should be heard. They just fucking wanted to be heard. So what this officer did was he was out there and he was saying, hey, I want to turn this into a parade, not into a protest. And he asked them, what do you need from me? And they said, walk with us. Walk with us. They start chanting, walk with us. Walk with us. Walk with us. I was so moved when I saw that officer get into that group and walk with them. We embraced him with love. Because that's all we're asking for. If you're going to unite with us, unite with us. But don't try to unite and then divide us. Don't do that. Don't do that. So listen, I probably made 7 or 8 different points, and they've all been all over the place. That's because that's where my mind's at too. It's all over the place. As I'm trying to pick up these pieces, I'm laying them down in this video. As I'm trying to pick up the pieces of my broken heart, I'm putting the words out in this video. Again, some of you may not like what I have to say, and if you don't, I get it. You don't like what I gotta say. Cool. But I'm pretty sure those same people that don't like what I have to say, you probably also don't like what you're saying on the news. So again, on your profiles, on your platforms, you can reply back to me, or you could show your support through your own words, through your own actions. But what we need right now, guys, is love, and a lots of it. You know, I'm watching news reporters in different states that are being reported that they are also getting this mistreatment from the police officers. But in their defense, They're just trying to create order, because not all police are bad. I get that. Again, my best friend is a police officer. He's not a bad guy whatsoever. I promise you he's not. He wouldn't be my best friend if he was. So listen, guys. Let's get back to loving, right? Let's get back to... I don't even want to say get back to the norm, because the norm only puts us right back where we're at. But we definitely got to get back to love. We come so far from love, but the only thing that's left is hate. We got to expel the hate, yo. We got to expel the hate. We have to expel the hate. And we have to generate more and more love. And we do that through words, and we do that through actions. So you guys, these are my words. My actions are soon to come. If you're in alignment with me, thank you. If you're not, and if you feel like fuck me, I'll still love you. Still love you, right? But yeah, guys, let's do something different. Let's restore love. Let's penetrate the hearts of those that may not have it in their hearts. Let's penetrate that. Let's break those boundaries. Let's tear down those walls, the walls of hatred, and restore them with boundaries of love. Hey, you guys, listen, man. This was on me, man. Remember always, I defeated failure. Temporary failure is not permanent defeat. This is a temporary situation, I'm assuming. It's been temporary for so many years that it may seem permanent, but trust me, it's not, guys. We will get through this. I love y'all.